I hope you're looking at this picture. Get it in your mind before I start my story. If you've never seen anything like this before, it's called Bittersweet. So now, the story I want to tell you is in my book. So I'm not going to read it and try to refresh my memory. I'm just going to see if I can remember. But first, what brought me to this was I was watching Marlene's tour of home today. You've got to see it. She has decorated her house, her new house, with fall decorations. You just won't believe. Everything is just perfection. So make sure after you see this, you go look at Marlene's tour of home. Now, she had all kinds of leaves and what you call fall growth that grows out in fields and everything throughout the house. Everything just perfect. And it reminded me of a time years ago. My kids were teenagers then. They were gone for the day, and I had been to church wearing my pretty black wool sheath dress, my suede high-heel shoes, and before going home, I decided to go for a drive. I thought I might find a country road where I could look for bittersweet. It was that time of year, fall, and there should be some pretty bittersweet somewhere. I didn't know where, but I'd play it by ear. So I'm driving along and I see a little, what looked like a country road. So I turned left and soon discovered it wasn't a road at all. It was more like something that had been cut out with plows and tractors and led you back to a farm. It had ruts so deep that they came up to the rim of my car. There were rocks so big that I just knew I was going to end up with flat tire. So I was going to have to turn around and go back. There's no way I could go ahead. But I couldn't turn around. I couldn't get out of those ruts. What was I going to do? I just followed that little winding country path. It would end somewhere. I'm sure I'd come out on one of the main roads. And I kept going and kept going. It wasn't getting any better. Brush and fences. What was I going to do? Now, this is long before the days of cell phones. Cell phones, I'll have to admit, were a miracle for many of us. They are one of the handiest things we've got nowadays. But there was no cell phone. There I was in my best dressed outfit. Out in the country, land of nowhere, didn't know where I was. But I had to get out of there. So I kept moving very slowly. And finally, I've gone about a quarter of a mile, I guess. And I came to an opening, but there was a fence. It was a dead end, a fence on 3 sides of me, both sides and in front of me. Well, how was I going to get out of that? I still couldn't turn the car around, couldn't get it out of those ruts. So there I sat. Okay, I turned the motor off and thought, well, I'm stuck. I'll have to figure this one out. I'll just get out of the car and see if I can find some bittersweet. Now, that's what I just showed you in that photograph. There surely was some around. It grows up trees. It winds around tree limbs. It's wild and straggly looking sometimes. It can be hard to find enough stems to make a little fall bouquet, and I always loved my bittersweet hanging in the kitchen in fall. So I start looking. I think I found about 3 little straggly sprigs. Okay, I've got to get out of here some way. It's getting late in the day. Now, I could see to my right, big level farm, house way over to one side. And walking away from that house was a man and his dog. I figured he's out taking his dog for a walk. And occasionally he would look my direction, and I'm thinking, he knows I'm in trouble. Surely he'll come over this way and try to help me. Well, I put the key in, I start the car. No, it wouldn't start. Now what have I done? I tried again, it still wouldn't start. Heavens above, I'm out in the middle of a field in my high-heel shoes and my Sunday dress. What am I going to do? And I kept looking toward the farmer. And every now and then he'd look my direction. I thought, surely he will come my way. I finally waved 2 or 3 times, so that he had to know I was in trouble because I'm on a dead-end road and a fence is on 3 sides of me. What am I going to do? So finally he came over. And I said, my car won't start. He said, let it sit a few minutes. You probably flooded it. Well, he was right about that. I had flooded the engine, so I said, okay. And he said, well, I'll tell you what. When you get the car started, I'll open up there was an opening there where I could go between the fence, just a country wire fence. And he said, you come across the farm, and you can see on the left side of my house, go around the house, and there's a gate on the front side of the house, and there's a paved road when you get there. And you can go out that way and get back on the main drag. What a relief that was. So he said, but don't let my cows out. Cows? He got cows in his front yard? I've never dealt with cows before. I'm not a country girl. I never was on a farm. I never milked a cow. What do I do when I get there and the cows won't move? Okay. I sat there and I looked around, looked a little bit more, couldn't find another sprig of bittersweet anywhere. So finally the car started. You don't know what a sigh of relief I felt, because where I was sitting, I could see to my left, way off in the distance, there was a main road. I could see the traffic, and it was starting to get dusky dark. I'm going to have to climb over a barbed wire fence in my Sunday outfit and traipse across that land to get to that main road. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. The car started. All right. Let's see if I can get out of these ruts. And I was very careful, very slow about moving. And little by little, I came out of the ruts and I was on level farmland. That's the day that you look up and say, Lord, stay with me. Get me out of here. So I very slowly drove across that farm, went around the side of the house till I got to the front driveway, and sure enough, there was the fence with the big wide gate. But also, there stood about 20 cows right in front of me. What was I going to do? I inched the car up a little, and they turned their heads and they glared at me, and they glared at me, and they were chewing on their cud. You know what I'm talking about. If you've ever seen cows, you know how they chew. Those big eyes were staring into my front window. They weren't going to move. I wasn't getting out of the car either. I inched 2 or 3 more inches. There they were, chewing on their cud. See it dribbling down their mouth. And I'm looking at them and saying, don't you know I want out of here? Can't you move? Move. And I'm going like this. Move, move. Well, I'm sure in cow language, they knew what that meant. They had to know. They didn't. They just kept standing there. And I kept sitting there, staring them right in the face. All right, let's try again. So I stepped on the gas and I inched a little more. Woo! They moved. The 2 right in front of me moved, but they still had those big eyes aimed at me. We'll try again. I inched up a few more inches, and they started parting. Moses, you remember, parted the waters. Well, I was parting the cows. They finally got far enough away that I could get to the gate. I opened the gate, jumped back in the car, pulled through the gate, and it was just a few yards to this paved road. It was a road, country road, lots of woods and trees. So I got my car on the other side of the fence, and I ran back, and I closed the gate, because I don't know what I would have done if one of those cows had gotten through that gate. I'd probably hopped in my car and took off well, like I was flying. I got the gate closed, pulled down to that road, turned right, headed for civilization, as I would put it. You never saw anybody breathe a sigh of relief like I did that Sunday afternoon in my Sunday outfit, looking for Bittersweet. And there I had it in my hand, like that much. 3 little sprigs of Bittersweet. What I went through for that. And the whole time I was sitting over there between those 3 fences, I was thinking, I don't show up at home by dark, my kids are going to be out looking for me. And they won't know where in the world is Mom? She hasn't come home. Well, I can say one thing. I am thankful for cell phones these days. After experiencing a day in the wooded area on the farm with the cows and the ruts in the road, yes, I'm thankful we have cell phones. So, let's see if I'm using another little cell phone here. Well, things aren't working for me today. I'm going to have to get with it. Here we go. One more look at the Bittersweet. Can you see it? Here we go. Isn't that beautiful stuff? And you get a few sprigs of that, tie a little string around it, and hang it on the back of your kitchen door. And it stays just like that. So you can see the little petals where the berries have popped out. And they're firm berries. They stay just like you see them here. It won't be long till I'll be able to get in my car and go looking for more Bittersweet, but I'm telling you, I'm going to think twice about going out and finding it on my own. I'm going to find one of those little roadside markets where they're selling their pumpkins and hope they're selling Bittersweet. Now, I used to buy Bittersweet. It was at the Wigwam Village, Livingston, Kentucky. We always passed the Wigwam Village going from Corbin to Louisville, back and forth. And they sold big bunches of Bittersweet. And that's where I would get mine to take home and decorate my house with. I haven't had any Bittersweet in years. So, you get out there and see if you can find some. Now, it grows mostly in the eastern part of the states. It grows in Kentucky. It grows in Virginia. I found some in Virginia one time, visiting, roaming around with my friend, and she's getting gas, and I said, look over there, climbing those trees, Bittersweet. While she got gas, I went over, stepped in the grass, and I went down about 2 feet. I wasn't sure I was going to get out of that hole. But I picked enough bittersweet to fill the trunk of the car, and I brought it home with me. And I had bittersweet hanging all over my house. So, if you love fall decorating, get out there, look for your bittersweet. You want to add it to all of your beautiful fall flowers and your pumpkin, your jack-o'-lanterns, and whatever else you use. So, that's the short story for the bittersweet. Now I think I'm going to pick up my book and read the story again and see how much I had to add to it. So, if you've got my book, be sure and go to page, I forgot what it was, like 127 or something like that. And you can see the title, Bittersweet. Read the story, and you'll get a better version of it than what I'm giving you now. I'm just giving it to you now because I'm sitting here hungry, wondering what I'm going to eat for lunch. I've already bypassed breakfast, so I've got a few things in the car that I bought at Goodwill yesterday. I don't remember what I bought, but I'll go out and maybe I'll be surprised by what's in the bag. So you take care and start getting ready for your fall decorations. I'm not going to do much myself because nobody sees it except me. And it's an effort getting all that stuff out. And I do want you to be sure and watch Marlene's tour of home. Remember, it's Buffalo Check Chicks. That's it. Yeah, Buffalo Check Chick. That's her site. And you will be entertained. So, that's it for today. I've got on my red lipstick so you can see my lip. And my green glasses. I forgot all about having these green glasses. Aren't they cute? I like these glasses a little bit. I like the bigger ones. You can give me your opinion. But I wore them because I'm wearing green today. You take care, folks. I love all of you. I'm so glad you're with me today. Bye.